Good morning. Today I'm going to explain the passive. Now, the passive, let's talk about how we form it first. It is formed with the appropriate tense of verb to be plus the past participle of the verb. Alright, so it's verb to be, the suitable verb tense of verb to be, plus the past participle of the verb. We'll discuss it later, the details about the tense, we'll talk about them later. Now let's look at this sentence first. This is just an introduction to understand what the passive is. Here, for example, this is an active, it's not passive. This sentence is not passive, and this one is not passive. Now here, Ahmed plays tennis. Now, how do we get the object? We need an object to form a passive sentence. So here I say, Ahmed plays what? Tennis. So tennis is the object. Another example, Ahmed helps Khalid. I may ask the question who after the verb to get the object. So Ahmed helps who? He helps Khalid. Alright? So the first step we have to do before forming an active sentence is to look for the object. So here we began by looking for the object here. So tennis is the object and Khalid is the object in the second sentence. Suppose a sentence doesn't have an object. Can we form the passive? Of course not. For example, if I say the sun is shining, can I say the sun is shining what? No. So here we cannot form a passive sentence from this sentence. So a passive sentence requires an object to start with. Now, here the object of the active verb becomes the subject in the passive. So why were we looking for the object here? Because this is what we'll begin with. So here, Ahmed plays tennis. In a passive sentence, we'll begin by saying tennis. So the object here becomes the subject here. Alright? So tennis, and then we put verb to be, is, and why is here? Because here it's present simple. So we put here is, it's the present simple of verb to be, plus the past participle of the verb here. So, tennis is played, and then we put by, followed by the agent. We call it either the agent or the doer of the action. So, it's followed by Ahmed. Here, Ahmed is the agent or the doer. Let's take another example. Ahmed helps Khalid. Here, Khalid is the object. So, we start by putting Khalid here, and it becomes here the subject. So Khalid, and again I put verb to be, is, and then the past participle of verb to help is helped, and then by Ahmed, Ahmed is the agent, or he was here the subject, here we call him the agent or the doer of the action. Alright? So this is how we form it in general. The details, we'll discuss them later. But this is the concept, this is the idea of the passive. Now, well, let's look why we have to use the passive. Why using the passive? So let's have a look at how the uses. Uses of the passive verbs. Number one, we use it if the action itself is more important than the doer. The action, the verb itself, is more important than the doer. And let's have an example, an immediate example here. For example, cakes were baked yesterday. What is important in this sentence is that cakes were baked. I'm more interested in cakes than the doer of the action. I can add at the end my mother, by mother, but it's not important. What's important to me? That the cakes were baked. Alright? So here, mother is not as important as the action itself. So this is the first use of the passive. So we use it for if the action itself is more important than the doer. The doer again or the agent. Number two, we use it when we don't know the doer of the action. Suppose we don't know who did the action. For example, my purse was stolen yesterday. Do I know the thief? Who was the thief? I don't know. So the doer here or the agent is unknown. Unknown, I don't know who. So I just use the passive. My purse was stolen. It was stolen yesterday. I can add, if I know the doer of the action, I may add by, for example, a the meaning of unimportant or obvious? Unimportant, not important. Or obvious, it means very clear. And we have here two examples for this. This house was built in 1995. Unimportant agent. Is it important to know who built this house? It's not important. Any person, any worker. So here, this house was built in 1995. Unimportant, not important. Another example for an obvious agent. The thief was arrested. The thief was arrested. Who arrests? It's only the police. So here, it's obvious. Obvious, it's very clear without saying it, without mentioning it, by the police. We don't have to say by the police. Alright? And by the way, it is wrong. Here we have to put emphasis on the doer or the agent. We use by plus the doer or the agent. Okay, sometimes it's wrong to put by. Suppose we are assessing, we use a pronoun. For example, they baked cakes. Does it add anything to say cakes were baked by them? We don't know who. So if I have a pronoun, we don't use by, number one. Number two, if we have somebody, for example, somebody stole my purse. So I won't say my purse was stolen by somebody. Does it add anything? It doesn't add anything, so I don't put it. So I just say my purse was stolen yesterday, for example, without saying by. Or if I have the word people in general, for example, people eat fresh vegetables. People eat fresh vegetables every day. So we say fresh vegetables are eaten every day. We don't have to say by people because it doesn't add anything to the sentence. But if I say, for example, people in China, yes, here I have to mention. Or people in Egypt, yes, I have to mention because this is specified. Thank you for watching. We'll continue the passive next time. Thank you.